A few months ago, I quit social media. This worked for a couple weeks, but now I'm back on it like I never left. Worse than before. The crazy part is, the thing that pulled me back into social media wasn't a relapse. It was a loophole that I made to help myself quit social media for a very long time. And this is what this video is about. I want to walk you through exactly what happened because I feel like most of the videos that explain phone addiction skip the most important parts that really matter. People talk about how to quit. Nobody talks about why quitting does not really stick. And I finally think after quitting for the 100th time, I finally have a piece of information that might be helpful to you and I. Not the whole answer to quitting social media, just a tiny piece of information. So a few months ago, I quit social media to focus on myself and my dreams. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, it wasn't for a few days or a weekend, it was for a couple months. When I would be driving to work going down the street, I would opt for Audible instead of listening to random videos on YouTube. In short, I replaced social media time for listening to Audible, and this changed my whole perspective of things. Now, don't get me wrong, in the beginning of changing this habit, it wasn't easy. It's like going from eating candy to eating cabbage. They were completely not compatible or comparable. I had to really temper my experience and just take it a little bit at a time. Every time that I would drift away from the Audible, I would bring myself back by repeating the same chapter time and time again until I was paying attention to the whole thing. And for a long time, it felt so good. I was so much at peace listening to these audiobooks. I remember thinking, I have the rest of the year to go and I had just finished 2 books. And I would just imagine how good it feels to say that I had finished listening to all the audiobooks in my Audible collection. Now, I'm not going to keep dwelling on that part because dwelling on that past is how I got stuck in this situation. The previous time that I quit social media and it worked, I kept telling myself that, wow, this is great. I kept thinking that quitting is easy for me. But you know what I failed to realize? It was so much harder staying consistent at quitting than quitting itself. How did it go from enjoying my solitude listening to audibles and audiobooks and heading back to being a social media addict? Let's just say that life happened. Something went wrong in my life a little bit. I'm not going to go into details, but I had difficulties that everybody faces in life. It's just that I wasn't prepared to receive any information, or I wasn't prepared or equipped to handle stress. I'm still working on it, by the way. It's not that easy for me to handle a lot of stress. So when I had a moment of difficulty, I reached out for my phone. And I want to be specific because I truly believe that this is where people get it wrong. There was never a thought that said, girl, you're going through a lot of stress. Why don't you distract yourself and use the phone? Or you had a really bad day today. Why don't you distract yourself and get on social media to ease your stress? Simply said, I don't remember the exact moment whereby I decided that I'm going to go ahead and pick the phone up and break my streak. I just remember being on it. This is the part that nobody talks about. When conditions are set, the reach for your phone is automatic. By the time you notice that you were reaching out for your phone or you've been on your phone, it's been a couple hours gone, wasted. And after doing this year after year, it doesn't become just a habit anymore. It becomes your lifestyle. You do this on autopilot. Your mind decides to do this on autopilot. Anytime you face challenges, stress, or whatever goes wrong, you just automatically opt to your phone. It becomes a coping mechanism, and an automatic one at that. As soon as life hurt me, I knew that the algorithm would be waiting. It is always waiting. Like one of those nature videos whereby there's a prey drinking water somewhere, but the prey doesn't know that it's being watched by a hawk or an eagle. All of a sudden, the prey isn't being chased. It's just being observed and monitored. And then boom, the moment it stops paying attention, that's when the eagle swoops in and takes the prey. I feel like this is what the algorithm is. It watches you every time you get clean, analyzes your behavior, how often you would click on something and at what time, what your mood would be. And then the moment you let your guard down because something is happening in your life, social media will swoop and take you over. And I'm not even mad at it. I have learned so much stuff on YouTube. I have gained so much from different people that I will never even get to meet. There are skills that I have only learned thanks to YouTube existing. But here's the thing, right under the video that you've been watching, right underneath the video that you have been watching, is another video that is completely different, unrelated to the one you've been watching before. But it also gets you with the thumbnail. It's like you open the app to work on one thing, and then 10 minutes later you end up scrolling through the whole universe, wondering why the Jupiter has a surface of why there are storms in Jupiter or something crazy like that. You keep going down this rabbit hole, keep watching different things that you don't really like, but you seem to really be entertained by them. So you keep watching and watching. I can compare this to one metaphor, a baby that is being fed. Imagine being a baby. When you're full, you cry. And for the person that feeds you, instead of them realizing that, wow, you're crying because you're full, according to them, they think, wow, you're crying because you need more. So they keep feeding you and stuffing you. So you keep getting bigger. It gets to a point where you're not even enjoying the food anymore, but you still eat it because it's there and it's being forced into your mouth. But you still eat it because the food is right there and there's no harm in opening your mouth. It's already there, by the way. When I quit a few months ago, I did not quit clean. I promised myself to go on social media just to see the thumbnails, the titles, but not to click on any video. This worked for me for a very long time because most of the time when I would feel the urge to scroll, I would just not put my phone on. I would keep it away. But when the urge became too strong, I would go on YouTube, scroll the title, the thumbnails, but I wouldn't click on, scroll the title, scroll the thumbnail, but I wouldn't click on any video. On hindsight, I was flirting with my ex and expecting nothing, completely nothing to happen. I thought I was being clever by not watching the videos, just watching the titles and the thumbnails, but I was wrong. Yes, I was getting just enough of a fix to take the edge off without falling all the way back into the addiction. And here's what I realized now today. I wasn't fighting addiction. I was negotiating with it. Every time I opened the app to look at the thumbnails or the titles, I was flirting with danger. I was telling my brain indirectly, yes, we quit social media, but somehow it's still there for you. You can go back and open it. You can go back and see things. You don't have to click on anything, and it's safe. It's perfectly fine. In short, I was still keeping the door cracked open. I had broken up with my phone, but I kept going in. And texting it just to check in. At least this is how it felt. And eventually, when life happened or things went wrong, I would fall right back into the temptation that I was avoiding because I had a cracked door open for it. By going online and scrolling on social media, not clicking, just looking at the thumbnails and the titles, I was building an appetite that had to be satiated in a while. So let's just say that eventually I walked into my own trap. That's the thing with this kind of addiction. It's not like heroin. People take it lightly because everybody has some sort of addiction of social media. But it's truly serious because it steals your valuable time, a finite resource that you'll never get another replenish of. It steals your finite resource, which is time, which you will never get a replacement of. And the crazy part is, social media steals your time in chunks of 5 minutes. Very small to notice, very small to complain. Genius. But 5 minutes 10 times steals your whole day over time. You lose focus, you lose memory, you lose time, you lose what keeps you. And because it steals your time in small chunks, you fail to notice that the year is going to be gone in a few months. This is how I ended up screwing myself from the principle that I had made to help me quit social media, and somehow life turning it into my own downfall. Having this knowledge, I'm going to move forward to trying something else, like observing what triggers the social media itch, to know why or when exactly do I feel like I want to open the app. What kind of mood am I in? What would I have been doing, or what would I be doing at that time? Just to get to the bottom of this. I will never give up, neither should you. I will never give up, neither should you.